Don't want to sound like a dick or nothing, but it says on your chart that you're fucked up. You talk like a fag, and your shit's all retarded. What I do is just like you know, you know what I mean? Like,
Sorry guys, I couldn't pass up this opportunity to hand Dante his ass one more time. The cowards at TheologyWeb have stopped watching my videos, but for some reason Dante is trying to continue his train wreck of an argument in the comment section here. Dante has left an astounding pile of garbage for me to wade through, but throughout most of it he just demonstrates his ability to put the English language in a blender. These comments perfectly exemplify Dante's style of debating, and by that I mean they don't make a goddamn bit of sense. Dante is clearly improvising as he defends his position by contradicting himself, arbitrarily naming fallacies, going completely off topic, making baseless assertions, and occasionally tossing in words like context and sociolinguistic, because he thinks this makes it appear as though he has some grasp of English. The result is, of course, a painfully idiotic and incoherent mess. Where I left off, Dante had claimed that he actually agrees with my position that people cannot directly choose their beliefs, and in my last video I showed that he has contradicted this multiple times. Here, Dante is desperately trying to deny one of those contradictions. This is what Dante originally said. He thinks the ability to choose whether you accept or reject that the evidence is convincing is compatible with indirect doxastic voluntarism, the view that people cannot directly choose their beliefs. As I pointed out, this is a clear contradiction. Choosing to accept or reject that the evidence is convincing is necessarily choosing a belief. If you choose to accept that it is convincing, you believe it is convincing. If you choose to reject it, you do not believe it is convincing. This is obviously a choice of beliefs. There is not any way to get around this. In the rest of this debacle, Dante argues that my definition of acceptance of evidence, which is believing that the evidence supports a certain proposition, is somehow wrong, but he has yet to specify how. Keep in mind that his goal is to show that choosing to accept evidence does not involve choosing a belief. This means that he has to use a different definition of accept than me, one which is not synonymous with believe. He has attempted to replace the word believing in my definition with understanding, recognizing, and acknowledging, but these words are all just synonyms for believing. When asked to show how this trick makes any difference, Dante just says that the burden of proof is on me to show that it doesn't make a difference. Well, I actually can show why it doesn't make a difference. Because the words are fucking interchangeable. This fallacy is called distinction without a difference. In his 250 or so comments, not once does Dante address this. He just continues juggling interchangeable words. Also, he has tried to replace supports a certain proposition with is valid. Apparently, he thinks evidence can be valid without supporting anything. So why did he do this? I have absolutely no idea. Even if this word swap is granted, he runs into the same problem. Choosing to recognize, understand, acknowledge, believe, or whatever word this idiot wants to throw in, that the evidence is valid, is still choosing a belief. The belief that the evidence is valid. Of course, he would no doubt object that acknowledging the evidence is valid is somehow significantly different from believing that it is valid, simply because he says so. Another absurdity in Dante's position is that he thinks a person believes the evidence supports a certain proposition prior to accepting the evidence as valid. This is contradictory. If the evidence is not valid, it doesn't support anything. When I showed Dante that he contradicted himself, he first responded by saying, "Which part of if do you not understand?" Now, I have broken this down here so you can appreciate how insanely stupid of a reply it is. Then he simply added words to his statement in brackets to resolve the contradiction, and then denied that there ever was a contradiction. This is one of the most idiotic things I've ever seen anyone do. By adding the words in brackets, he changed the meaning of his original statement. According to his new wording, a person must accept the evidence as valid if he believes it supports a certain proposition, which is exactly what I've been saying. Dante also says I can't use accept as a synonym for believe because it leads to redundancies. In one of my comments I said that accepting evidence is accepting the belief that the evidence is acceptable. Dante says that this would mean believing the belief, which he thinks is redundant. This is because he defines belief as something you already believe. So to him it reads, believing the thing I believe. So in whatever language Dante speaks, the statement, I do not hold that belief, would translate to, I do not hold that thing I believe. Obviously, a belief is not necessarily something you already believe. For example, I can say that Christianity is a belief. That does not mean Christianity is something I believe. In this sense, the word belief means view. I told Dante that there is no reason to use his horrible definition, but he told me that it is necessary due to the surrounding context. But why in the world would the context demand an unworkable definition? My other statement, accepting evidence means believing that the evidence supports a certain proposition, avoids this supposed redundancy altogether. In yet another futile assault on the English language, Dante claims I cherry-picked my definition of accept from 8 other definitions, without realizing that many of these are not even viable when talking about accepting evidence. For example, accept, to receive a transplanted organ or tissue without immunological rejection. Oh, so that's what it means to accept evidence. This is all hilarious because at the end of this embarrassing failure, Dante proves that his definition of accepting is synonymous with believing. In his example, a person is completely neutral and stands at a fork in the road, in which he can freely choose to either believe X or believe not X. So, despite Dante's hundreds of comments in which he attempts to fight the dictionary, he has still ended up saying that choosing to accept evidence is choosing a belief. This means that Dante's position is still direct doxastic voluntarism, he still contradicted himself, and he's still a fucking idiot. As a joke, I posted several comments which Dante failed to notice were actually brilliant parodies of himself. The key to sounding like Dante is to always use the phrase, the likes of you, as well as, what part of blank do you not understand? Then be sure to name some fallacies at random and throw in a few words that have to do with language so you can try to sound sophisticated. Most importantly, whatever you say has to be really fucking stupid.